Joining us now is Representative David Cicilline. He has been the U.S. Representative for Rhode Island's 1st Congressional District since 2011. He is a member of the Democratic Party. He was previously mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, and he joins us now. Representative Cicilline, thanks so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. And you, along with a number of your colleagues, you signed a letter recently to Speaker of the House Paul Ryan urging the reestablishment of the House Permanent Select Committee on Aging. Why is that important?
Well, I actually, yes, I led a letter and was joined by 63 of my colleagues to the new Speaker asking him to reestablish the House Permanent Select Committee on Aging. And this is a committee that existed between 1974 and 1992 and then was disbanded after that. And the reason that we are calling on the Speaker to reestablish this committee is there are a number of issues particularly important to seniors that we think require particular attention. This is a committee that held about 1,000 hearings and produced reports that really helped persuade Congress to take action on a whole variety of issues affecting seniors in this country, from nursing home care to health care issues particularly impacting seniors, to putting a spotlight on elder abuse and a number of other issues. And you know, this is a population with tremendous needs, and there seem to always be discussions about the future of Social Security and Medicare and the very serious rising cost of prescription drugs, housing issues for seniors, long-term care. And so I think, and I know my colleagues agree, that these are important issues and they really warrant the attention of a select committee that can really focus on these issues, conduct hearings, make recommendations. It worked well. It produced some good results, and it's really time to reestablish the committee.
What was there a specific incident or a set of factors that inspired you to take a leadership role in this, or was it just an accumulation of issues like the ones you've just mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a particular issue, but I mean, I spent a lot of time meeting with and hearing from seniors in my district, and there's a lot of anxiety about the future of Social Security and Medicare. There's tremendous frustration with the rising cost of prescription drugs, and I think a lot of seniors sort of have a sense, is anyone in Washington really focused on this, not just in response to a particular proposal, but in terms of a long-term strategy and kind of thoughtful public policy as it relates to many of these important issues to seniors. And I think a select committee is a perfect venue to be able to have that kind of a discussion and to be able to hear directly from experts in the field. And it's exactly what the select committee did, probably best known for its chairman, Claude Pepper. But these are important issues. You know, this is a population that has contributed so much to our country, and we have to be sure that we're doing right by them and ensuring that they live their retirement years with dignity and with a strong quality of life. And a select committee is really a place to do that, and I'm hoping, you know, the Republicans in the House have created select committees for other things. You know, they have a select committee on Benghazi. They have a select committee on Planned Parenthood. I actually think this is a select committee that would provide a tremendously more significant service to people all across this country and help to develop really good policies that will matter for many generations. So I'm hopeful the Speaker will take our advice and create the Select Committee.
We're talking with Representative David Cicilline of Rhode Island. Now, help us out here. How does that actually work? Can Speaker Ryan just say that he's creating this committee? Is there a process or a vote, or is it more or less just the unilateral action of the Speaker?
No, I mean, the way it typically happens is the House would approve a resolution that contains express language that creates the committee, sets forth the purpose, the membership of it, et cetera. But it really is essential that in order for that resolution to come to the floor and, frankly, to earn the support of the majority, it would have to have the support of the Speaker. So that's why I began with a letter to the Speaker. My expectation is after the first of the year, now that we're through the budget resolution, that I'll have a meeting with the Speaker to speak in more detail about this idea.
Well, Representative Cicilline, a question that comes to mind is, while your argument is more than compelling, in my opinion, that we need this and that is far more important than some of the other topics that have been explored through select committees, that case is compelling. But there is also a considerable disagreement, I would say, between the two parties. I'm sure you agree on how to treat some of these issues: Social Security, Medicare, prescription drugs, and so on. Do you think there's a chance that there could be agreement that this committee needs to be created, given the gulf that exists between the two parties on these issues?
Well, I mean, I actually think that is actually strengthens the argument of the necessity of this committee. These are really important issues, and there's a wide range of opinions on these issues. And so that's exactly the kind of conditions that I think warrant a select committee, because that's a place where you can have kind of more intense discussions over a longer period of time, where you can bring in experts and try to develop some consensus on what I think everyone will agree are very important issues, even if there's not immediate consensus on what the response to those challenges should be. But I mean, I actually think it's in these areas where there are big, important issues that are complicated and that have very kind of varying opinions, that you need to create a venue where you can really engage in thoughtful discussion and listen to each other and listen to experts and try to develop some consensus around it. And that's, if there's broad agreement on something, you just introduce a bill and pass it. So a select committee is not necessary. So it's really, I think, in this context where it's particularly appropriate.
We're talking with Representative David Cicilline about the proposal to reestablish the House Permanent Select Committee on Aging. Now, how would this work, Representative Cicilline, if for example, the committee wanted to do a report on senior poverty, just to pick one example? Would there be a majority report and a minority report? Is that how it would tend to work after you had your hearings?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, it can be a report from the committee. If there's consensus on it, it can be a report from the committee with dissenting views. It can be two separate reports. So it's really up to the committee to make that determination. But the purpose of it is really to advise Congress and the American people on how to meet the challenges of growing old in America. I mean, that was the original charge of it. So, the idea is it would identify some of the key issues, then decide kind of what will be the priorities among those many issues, and then begin, to conduct hearings and collect information and collect data and listen to experts in the field, and then try to develop some consensus about an approach and then develop a report from that. So this is a process that will take a little time, but I think, if we are ever going to have, build consensus to respond to some of these really important issues that affect seniors in this country, this is a good mechanism by which to create at least the opportunity for that kind of discussion and deliberation and thoughtful policy development.
Do you know why the committee was disbanded in the first place?
For that, it would be better for us, rather than less opportunities.
Yeah. Do you know why the committee was disbanded in the first place?
No, I mean, it was sort of just, it was disbanded in October of 1992 at the end of the 102nd Congress, and it was, I think, partly a result of a larger effort to kind of reduce costs of government and reduce costs of the Congress, and so I think there was some pressure to reduce some of these activities of the Congress that would produce some savings, and I don't think there was any argument that it wasn't doing good work or that the subject matter that they were charged with addressing was not important, but I think it was a kind of larger issue about cutting costs and reducing spending that allowed it to expire and not be renewed.
I see. Well, in closing, I guess, what can listeners do if they're interested in the topic, if they want to express support for the idea? Is it too early for that, or is there something?
No, definitely not too early. What would be very helpful if listeners are supporting the idea to call your member of Congress and urge them to join this effort, to either be added to the letter or express their support to the speaker. But I think the more we can have members, expressing their support for doing this, the better.
Well, very good. We will encourage our folks to do that.
And they can always contact my office if they want more information about it, my number is 202-225-4911, or they can email us my david.cicilline@mail.house.gov.
All right. Well, this is the first on-air interview where we've gotten digits, just so you know, to use the vernacular. What was that number again?
I'm sorry?
What was that number again?
Oh, my number is 202-225-4911.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. I think it's very important. And Representative David Cicilline of Rhode Island, thanks so much for coming on the
Thanks for
program.
having me on. Bye-bye.